there's 100 different stories out there for what happened, but legend goes that these kids were hanging out under this tunnel and he killed them and he hung them. And the craziest part, they never caught this guy.
From the dawn of the spoken word, storytelling has been the backbone of human culture, warning of looming dangers and evoking our most personal fears. What you're about to hear are the real-life experiences of everyday people, brave enough to share their terrifying tales. Tales where the horror hits close to home. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. Listen, if you dare.
So, Kelly, I've known you very, very long time through your younger brother, Johnny, who entered elementary school with me at about fifth grade.
I think I was 2 grades above you.
Yeah, so you would have been 7th when I was in 5th.
Yeah.
And then high school, and of course, Johnny and I have remained friends until this day. So that was like the biggest Groupon that ever happened in my life, like getting to meet the rest of his family.
And they're all cool. We could probably do a whole podcast on
just shepherd stories. Because I'm sure Dan's had experiences too.
Oh, Dan.
And Johnny, for sure. I've been listening to Johnny's stories for half my life.
Yeah. Dan has definitely had some creepy stuff happen to him, too.
He's the only person I've ever known to actually own the entire X-Files series. Bootleg, too. It was like in this weird shoebox.
We bought it from like Korea or something. Yeah, it was in a weird shoebox, and it all had Korean subtitles, but you could change it to English, and it was all good.
Yeah, so we could definitely do like an ensemble episode at some point.
So get Dan in.
That would be so good. He would eat all this.
He would love it, yeah.
Anyway, you have a story that is a doozy, man. The first 3 episodes were sleep paralysis and like weird dreams. This is an actual urban myth. You could look some of this up and it's not just anecdotal.
So the story that I heard, there's a prison transport coming from this prison in Lorton. And, the story goes, the bus, it's going through Clifton, very windy roads. It's up and down. It's full of trees. I mean, it's not a fun drive, especially if you're in a giant bus full of a bunch of crazy people. The bus crashes and some prisoners escape. So naturally, they get the marshals and they get the bloodhounds and they go out and hunt some prisoners. So I guess they caught all of them but 3. And I'm unsure of the time frame because, legend, myth. The people looking for these prisoners, they find 2 of them in Clifton. They're dead and it looks like they've been murdered. I remember I read something about a coroner's report that the wounds were inflicted with like a handmade tool. So they still haven't found this 3rd fella, and residents in Clifton would find half-eaten animals in their yards or the woods, and in particular, bunnies. I mean, that's a good source of food if you can catch them. The locals, they're finding all of these dead half-eaten animals. From what I've read, a lady found like a molar in one, like a human
tooth,
like a tooth,
human tooth
in one of these rabbits.
That
and
tracks.
I don't know how true that is. That's just something I read on the internet.
But it's just such a weird detail that...
It's a weird detail. Yeah. It's like, who would include that? Anyway, the infamous fateful evening when it all comes to a head, there were people under this bridge. It's not a bridge. It's a tunnel with a train going over it. The legend goes that these kids were hanging out under this tunnel and he killed them, all of them, and he hung them. And that's the end of the story. That's the craziest part. They never caught this guy. They have no idea who it is. I mean, I could barely find anything concrete on the victims. Did they know this person? Or was it just a really, really bad being in the wrong place at the wrong time?
What made you want to go out that night? Was it just like let's go see a local site? Let's go do something crazy?
That's pretty much how it started. Correctly? I was actually a freshman in college at George Mason.
Okay.
I was living in Fairfax. I'd only been in college, a couple months, but I had a good group of friends and we had heard about it. I don't really remember where we heard it from, but it was just kind of like a local legend, like Running Man Bridge, like that place is haunted. And one night, my roommate, Matt, we had been studying. And we were also pledging a fraternity at the same time. So we had absolutely no sleep, super stressed. So 9 or 10 o'clock at night, we were both out smoking a cigarette outside of our apartment. We just both were like, dude, let's go to Bunny Man Bridge. We got a couple hours to kill. Like, we're going to be up all night anyway. My friend Kyle was with us. So we hopped in my Avalon. I was cool in college. So we get out there, and I don't know if you've ever been to Clifton, but it's incredibly windy roads because Fairfax County is definitely not rural, but Clifton is. So we get out there, and none of us had ever been there before. We may have gotten lost for a couple of minutes. None of us had iPhones. I think I had the first Droid that ever came out. I had a Motorola Droid.
That had to have been maybe like 2009, 2008.
Let's see. I graduated 7. Yeah, it would have been the tail end of 2008. Anyway, we eventually find the bridge. And it's not really a bridge. It's more like a tunnel, and a train goes over it. I never understood why they call it Bunnyman Bridge.
Yeah, I guess it's just a better, like, snap your title.
And it's a very narrow tunnel, one car only. I mean, I was worried that my rearview mirrors were going to scrape along the sides. So we pull up and we get out, and we're just kind of looking around, and it's very dark. I think there's like one street light down the way. And we kind of walk up to the opening of it. I mean, it's just eerie as hell. Very quiet. There's no traffic. And we're just kind of standing around. We start smoking a cigarette, like just kind of joking around. And my roommate's like, let's walk to the other side. I was like, nah, we better not. For some reason, I didn't want to do that. I don't know why. And at the time, I don't think it really meant anything. So I was like, no, fuck that. Like, I got my car. Let's just drive.
Could you see through it? Like, was it something you could see the other end of?
Totally. Or? Yeah. It's only maybe 2 car lengths, maybe 3. Like, it's not a large tunnel. So we got in my car and we drove to the other side, parked, and we got back out. So we started hanging out. And this time I had my camera with me. And I remember before we left, I was joking with my roommates, everybody else on our floor. I was like, oh, like, wouldn't it be funny if I got a ghost on film or whatever? I had just found photography and, I wanted to pursue it. So I bought a camera and I pretty much had it with me everywhere I went. So I started taking pictures and we're just kind of hanging out. My roommate has the idea is like, let's go to the other side or let's climb on top of it. We walk right up. That was the first photo I took that night. And I didn't look at it because I'm just snapping away. I didn't notice it until I got back to the room. So we walked back up to the opening and one of us had a flashlight and we're just kind of looking at the inside of the tunnel. And it's wet. It's nasty. It smells like
a dingy
mold.
Tunnel.
Yeah, sure. It's a dingy tunnel in the middle of nowhere. And yes, they want to go to the other side. And for some reason, I didn't want to. And right at that moment, I will never forget this. I had like the most profound sense of deja vu I had ever had. I may have just been wrapped up in the moment, but like something was happening. I said, guys, now let's get back in the car. And, we drove back to the other side and eventually went back to campus. So we get back to my dorm room. And this is when it gets really, really creepy. I take my memory card out of the camera, I plug it in the computer, and all the images start downloading onto my laptop. And like I said, the first photo I took pops up. And I'm like, whoa. So it's quick. It's kind of cycling through all the images being added. I saw like a glimpse and I was like, what the hell was that? So I go back to it. I look at it and I just like stare at it.
Your mind slowly coming to the realization of what that might be.
I even made the joke about it. Like,
wouldn't it be crazy?
Wouldn't it be crazy? Well, turns out it was pretty crazy.
Just to state it outright, we've been talking about a picture of the tunnel and it looks like there are 3 bodies suspended from the tunnel itself.
I had just a little basic DSLR. There was virtually no ambient light except for a street light way down the road and then, the moon. So I took the photo. I put it in Photoshop. And I know this is where I kind of lose people sometimes. Like, oh, you manipulated the photo. No, not exactly. As a photographer, one of the first rules is shooting in what's called a raw format. When you take the photo and the sensor captures it, it captures the absolute most amount of data from that picture. So when you do go to edit it, there's more basically 1s and 0s to play with. And I'm just doing very, very slight adjustments, brightness, contrast, just stuff like that, seeing what I'm working with. And it's like, it's just right in your face. These super ominous green things in the middle of this tunnel. At first I was like, okay, it's a reflection. Okay, what? Reflection of what? There's like a small no trespassing sign on the tunnel. Maybe something bounced off of it. I'm looking at it now. It's been 13, 14, maybe 15 years, and it still terrifies the crap out of me.
And here's the thing, even if it is some kind of trick of the light to produce that exact image in relation to where you are.
I've been doing photography for a long time. I've shot into the sun. I've shot at night.
Thousands of pictures throughout your life.
Literally almost 1 million probably at this point. Never have I ever seen a lens flare or any sort of distortion or anything that even resembles this. First of all, a flash on a camera is generally a warm tone. So if there's a flare or if it's reflected, it would be orange or yellow or maybe amber, something like that. That's green. That's literally
ectoplasm green.
Never ever seen anything like this. And everybody on my dorm, they were running to my room. I mean, this one guy, Azim, he was freaking out. He was like, oh shit. Like he was grabbing chairs and running down the hallway and like he couldn't believe it. And he kept saying something about a curse and something about church and how I gotta like, never go back.
Yeah, he's grabbing holy water and crosses.
Right. Like, where's the Bible? I mean, just for the whole rest of the night, we were all just so freaked. I couldn't stop staring at it. And I kept playing with it in Photoshop just to see what would happen.
And prove your assumption wrong.
Right.
That's what you do when you see something almost impossible. You try to poke holes in it. You try to rationalize.
Exactly. And it's like, I totally believe in this stuff. But the other part of me was like, this might be BS. The scientist part of me was like, I need to work through this and figure it out. So there's a tool in Photoshop. It's basically like an X-ray where it inverts everything, just like what an actual X-ray looks like. I inverted the photo. I kept tinkering with the settings. And in the center of the tunnel, there was substance that was absorbing the light. And the only thing that can absorb light is an object. And the fact that I was standing right in front of the tunnel, there was nothing on the other side because we could see it. I mean, it was dark, but it wasn't that dark. I had no idea what to make of it. I was terrified. My friends that were with me were terrified. And I remember the next couple weeks, whether we were at a party or in class, I mean, it's like
it's that feeling of like you saw something you weren't supposed to see.
Right.
So what are the consequences?
What are the consequences? Now, me personally, I've always felt, this is going to sound silly, but extra sensitive to that kind of stuff. I've had some very creepy things happen to me growing up when I was a teenager. And then obviously this with the Bunnyman Bridge. I mean, I'm getting scared just thinking. And the fact that it's all dark right now and we have a candle lit isn't helping.
It's the atmosphere.
The important thing is we have this lovely bottle of tequila.
Yeah, sponsored by the ABC store. And just FYI, this isn't something I'm just pulling on you. Every episode is filmed this way, or recorded rather.
It's cool. I like it.
It helps you ease into that mindset of we're all rational people in the light of day, but most people, almost everyone has a couple of experiences where you would swear that there's something else out there.
Especially when it's dark.
Especially when it's dark.
Cold Case Western Australia is a new true crime podcast series produced on behalf of the WA Police Force Special Crime Squad. The series examines unsolved homicide cases, some dating back several decades, in the world's largest policing jurisdiction. You'll hear new case details and insights from the investigating detectives and forensic experts. There are now $1 million rewards attached to each unsolved homicide in Western Australia. You can listen to Cold Case Western Australia wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting the WA Police Force website.
So, like I said, all right, so at parties and class in the coming weeks, everybody wanted to see it. It had spread. Everybody wanted to hear about it. And I remember showing my parents. And Danny, my dad. I mean, he's very straight as an arrow, very...
he's like, what'd you do with your camera?
Yeah, right. What's wrong with your camera? It's like, we need to get you a new camera. Oh, man, that guy.
No, dude, your dad's the bomb.
He is. He's a cool dude. I don't know if he still believes about this photo. I think a part of him probably does, but...
I don't know. If I had to put my money on Ken or like the ghost of the bunny man, I'd still take Ken.
Oh, yeah, he would outthink him, and he would just have some very, very practical way to defeat him. And it's like, oh, why didn't any of us think of that?
He's the dude that if you put him in a horror movie, it would be done 30 minutes in.
Right, yeah. There'd be no running into the woods or separating from everybody, or he'd be in the tool shed gearing up. 10 minutes into the movie, he's like, all right, where's this happening?
Comes out with a modified shotgun chainsaw. He's just
riding a lawnmower. No, and my mom, she looked at me with the most serious look. It was like, you can never go back there.
Yeah.
And like a part of me kind of believed her. I was like, maybe she's right.
It's that feeling that you got away with something by getting that picture and getting out. You got evidence of something.
My mom, we're very similar in the sense that we're very sensitive to this kind of stuff. And she's had super creepy things happen to her, like when she was a kid. I don't know if she like straight up believes in all this stuff, but she definitely doesn't not believe in it.
Well,
like,
God-fearing woman, right? If there's a God, there's got to be other things.
Exactly. And growing up, like the X-Files were our favorite show. So aliens and ghosts and monsters, like it was just part of growing up. When she saw this photo, it's like it all became real. And that wasn't just something on TV or in a book. And now I'm in her house showing her this photo and she's like,
get it out.
Get it out.
No.
I think when I showed her the photo, I don't know if I had told her the story about it yet. I was just kind of like, look at this place I went to, look at this photo I took. And then after seeing how terrified
she just knew the photo was bad news.
Yeah.
Off the jump,
yeah,
without
exactly.
knowing the folklore. Yeah.
She had like this gut feeling that something really terrible happened there. And it's like, I totally agree. There's 100 different stories out there for what happened, but I think one sure fact is something really bad happened there. Last couple years, like after I married my wife, Rachel, and I've learned a lot more, about like energy, what happens to energy, how it's affected. And it's just constantly being transferred. It never goes away. It's just always changing.
Yeah, energy can not be destroyed. It's just repurposed and reformed in different capacities.
Like when we die, our energy transfers to something else. And people who are open to it feel it. There are things that a person can do to maybe cut themselves off from that side of things. But you basically just go against what you are as a human. You ignore your gut, which is never a good idea.
And you're cutting yourself off from your like emotions too.
Right,
the things that
you don't
help
want to
you
do
interpret
that.
life in the world.
There's a certain way that you feel things, and your idea is to cut that off and to think that your life is going to improve.
But it's not really life.
I don't know. Like, as scary as this Bunny Man thing was, and the fact that it still scares me today, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
It's
like
important.
having that feeling of like, what was that? What did I come 3 feet away from walking into? But for some reason, something kept me back. I just came so close to something. Energy's everywhere. It's just a question of,
are you open to the experience?
Yeah, it's there if you want to feel it. That'd be a good campaign slogan. Bunny Man 2024. All right, let's bring it back to the photo. I'm going to go into a lot more detail about it because when I first saw the photo, it was scary. And then I zoomed in and it went from like 0 to 100. At first glance, it looks like 3 figures and they're hanging. And they've got like this motion to it when I took the picture, which makes it even creepy. Yeah. So I keep zooming in and you start seeing like definite features. If we connect the dots, it's not like a constellation where you have to like really use your imagination, but like look at it. Like it looks like there are hands and feet.
I can see like the leg, the foot, where the knee turns into the thigh.
Right. The torso
distended,
part.
yeah.
It's distended. It's sticking out. And I did some research. I tried to find out who were the victims. Was it a woman?
Yeah.
Was she pregnant? I mentioned earlier that it was the first photo I took. So as a photographer, I take hundreds of photos of the same damn thing all the time. I have 20 other photos. It's not in a single one.
Ooh.
If it was something artificial, like a reflection or a flare or just a general screw up of the camera, it would be present in other photos, but it wasn't. I've told this story probably, 100 times, and it's still as scary as it is right now than it was the first time I told it. Is scary and is potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
What it could have been. I feel lucky that I was able to experience this and capture this on film. And like now we're talking about it and other people are going to be listening to it. Be like, oh, dude, that's so creepy. Because they've, I'm sure plenty of these people.
There are definitely more stories about that
like
bridge.
Everybody listening to this is like got that thing like, oh man, I remember when I was young and I was in the attic and this thing happened.
And when the pod gets big enough, we might get more Bunny Man Bridge stories like yours.
I guarantee that I'm not the only one who has experienced something weird there.
We're 3 episodes into the podcast as a series. And just from the 3 episodes I've had people reach out to me just relating to the stories that are already out there. Someone else knows exactly what that feeling is, even if their story is not exactly the same. They understand that primal fear, that moment where you thought the impossible could be possible.
I'm definitely thankful it happened to me because it's just so cool. Like,
it is.
It is so cool.
And the thing that's so special about that experience is that you did not specifically go out and conjure it.
No, it just happened. Whatever it was in that tunnel, whether it was energy or ghosts or trapped soul, who knows? They made themselves available to me. Why didn't the other 2 people I was with see anything? Was it just because of the camera?
Yeah.
And like, I eventually went back. I got lucky the first time. Nothing happened. We all got out of there. Kind of like, am I testing fate? Am I pushing my luck? We went back during the daytime because I wasn't trying to be stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know what nighttime would have made a difference. I mean, I feel like
maybe the edge is off the blade at that point.
There's also a lot of police that like to hang down there because people like me and you and everybody listening to the show are like, Bunny Man Bridge, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And the cops are like, kids, like, don't.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be here.
It's bad news.
It's bad news. Don't come here.
Who's going to Camp Crystal Lake on Friday the 13th? You know, why? Stop it.
Exactly. So yeah, we went back into the day and it was unremarkable. It looks completely different during the day. It's just this teeny little tunnel, bunch of trees around it. It's a couple houses up the road.
Any pictures taken that day?
I probably took some, yeah.
But obviously nothing came of that.
Nothing came of that. I'd have it up being like, it's story. Definitely true.
The sequel.
Howdy, cowpokes. This week I'd like to give a shout out to Kelly J. Shepard Photography. As you heard earlier in the episode, Kelly's been in the photography game for over a decade, and if you peep the Insta, Kelly J. Shepard Photography, or his website, kjsphoto.smugmug.com, you're one step closer towards getting Kelly and his crack team, comprised entirely of himself, on site to any event you can imagine. So keep Kelly in mind for any upcoming weddings, funerals, or boudoir shoots you may have coming in the future, so he can find you that special picture that's one in a million.
And I know you've got more stories too.
Yeah.
I'm not pressed for time specifically.
No, hell no. I got one more really scary story. All right. Virginia, between the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, this is a very, very old area. And a lot of people died, especially in Northern Virginia. Anyway, so I think I was in 7th grade when this next story happened. Warrenton, Virginia is a very old town. A buddy of mine, this guy, Matt, we were hanging out and we went on this ghost tour with my parents just through Old Town. So all these places we're walking by, it's like, oh, the courthouse.
Yeah.
Been there 40 times, or like, oh, Molly's Irish Pub before it was Molly's Irish Pub. Like, been there. Shout out to Molly's. So we're going through and, we walk down where the police station is and the cemetery across the way. And the guide, she's taking us through there. She's telling about, all the famous and infamous people that are buried there from, Revolutionary War, Civil War, and everything up until now. And like the whole time, me and Matt, we're just screwing around. We're in 7th grade.
Exactly.
Our attention spans are like a goldfish at this point.
You're not taking anything seriously.
We don't care. We're just like, let's go back to the house, play video games or Mario Kart or whatever the hell, whatever, Rogue Squadron, one of those games, or 1080. So we're just screwing around. We're not into it. My parents are like, ooh, this is spooky. My mom loves that stuff. And she gets to this one. See, now I'm having that apprehension because what I'm about to tell you is I am not making any of this up. It is the scariest moment of my entire life. The guy takes us to a grave and she's telling the story, the history of this person, how they ultimately died and they were buried there. And for whatever reason, Matt and I thought it was a good idea to be very disrespectful on top of this fellow's grave. We were joking. We were laughing.
It's the preteen attitude, unfortunately.
It was very not smart. It was not good. Anyway, the night goes on. We go see a couple other sites throughout Warrenton and we get back to our car. So we drive and we go down the hill past the cemetery. And the guy's grave was like kind of near the road. And as we were driving by, for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to roll my window down and like yell a joke or something really stupid at the graveyard. It was so stupid. I regret it 150% because that night, all right. So anyway, we get back, we have dinner. And at the time you've been to my house or my parents' house. The very top of the stairs, just to the left, I was in that bedroom. So I was like right at the top of the stairs. For Matt, we had like a roll-away mattress we brought in. We were hanging out in there. We were just being dumb kids. And all of a sudden, Matt just started throwing up all over the place. Not violently, but he looked at me. He was like holding his stomach like he was confused. Just kind of like, why do I? And he threw up all over the bed. He threw up on the floor. So, my mom called his mom. And he's like, all right, I'm going to come pick him up. Yeah. Like he's sick. He's going to come home. So rolled the bed out. My mom, probably was stuck with cleaning up all the vomit. God, I love that woman. She's a saint. She's just the best ever. She put up, 4 boys. Holy shit.
And the extended cast of their friends. God.
My goodness.
I owe her a fruit basket.
Oh, at least. So anyway, my friend is gone. So I'm just like, well, I guess I'm just going to go to bed now. So I'm laying in bed. And I've got my 2 windows open because I'd wake up with the sun because of the front of the house, and then down the hill was the pond. It was cool because I love fishing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like looking at it.
And to give more context, it's a large expanse of property. It's mostly driveway and field, and then there's a pond in the front.
Right. Yeah. So total 13 acres, give or take.
Yeah.
But it's basically all just open field.
Yeah.
The moon was lit. It wasn't, I don't know if it was a full moon or anything, but there's plenty of light coming in my room. So along my bedroom was a very long hallway that went back to the area over the garage, which is where my 2 older brothers lived at the time. Throughout the night, having 2 older brothers, obviously they stayed up way later than me.
Yeah, doing cool kid stuff.
Sneaking out and smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. So it was not uncommon to hear people moving up and down the hallway. We had a busy house, a lot of people. This particular light, I don't know if any of them were home. So if I was in 7th grade, that means Dan was in high school and Brian was probably in college. So I wake up maybe 11 or midnight, and I just hear this very slow pace coming down the hallway. And it's like, when you live in a house long enough,
you recognize the sounds.
Yeah, you recognize the creaks of the floor, down
to the fact of who's making the sounds.
Right, you can kind of tell who's walking based. I was like, oh, that's my dad, or that's my, you learn their gaits and their
purposeful stride. That's good.
And this was odd. I was like, I don't think anybody's back there. And it just kept very slowly coming down the hallway. And I hear these footsteps come to just on the outside of my door. And I hear my door like, dude, it ever so slowly just opens up. And it never does that. It was almost like somebody was very carefully pushing it. Because if you unlatched it, the door wouldn't open or close. It would just sit there.
There has to be force on the other side.
Force because, there was carpet. It kept it from... free.
Yeah,
moving.
everything in that house is right angles. Like it's,
right.
Yeah.
And I am absolutely terrified. I don't see anything in the doorway. So there's an alarm system on the opposite side of the hallway near my parents' bedroom. And it has got this teeny little green light. It illuminated enough of the hallway. You could clearly see if somebody was standing there. I am absolutely terrified. I couldn't move. I couldn't make a noise. And then I hear these footsteps coming towards my bed. And it's like, I know. So the outdoor hallway, it was all hardwood. My bedroom was carpeted. And it's like, obviously there's a difference of what walking sounds like on carpet. And I was like, it's in my room. It just ever so slowly comes towards my bed. And I just hear like this, just this really slow, labored breathing. And I am totally out of my mind. I was probably praying. When I remember this, I'm like a fly on the wall watching it all happen. Yeah, because I don't remember laying in that bed. Like it was so traumatic that like
you dissociated entirely.
I dissociated entirely, exactly. And like my brain, I don't know what it repressed or what it didn't, but I'm like watching myself experiencing this. I don't know how long it lasted, and then I just hear the steps walk back out of my room, and then my door just and it closes like halfway, and that's it. No more footsteps down the hallway, the stairs. That is it. I don't know how long I sat there trying to find the courage to do something.
Dude, you got shell shock.
It probably would have been a while though. And I remember whatever the last Halloween was, my dad let me keep one of those like cool carving knives. The serrated blade with like the orange handle.
Yeah.
Because, I'm a boy. I like sharp things. And he was like,
you want to own a weapon for
He was like, you can have a knife. He was like, you can have this one. I was like, all right, cool. I had it on like my dresser or something. Like, that's what's going to protect me. And there's a lamp next to my bed. And I finally got the courage to turn it on. And I immediately grabbed this little tiny pumpkin serrated knife. And I turned my lights on. And I'm just in my room, just like
aiming that knife at shadows.
Dude, I'm like moving around in circles, just like checking corners and under my bed and looking at my closets. And there's nothing. I closed my door. And I don't know if I slept that night. I think the next day I knew that I had done something based on what me and Matt did.
Yeah,
and I think about how he just out of nowhere got so sick and he threw up
just to make sure you were alone for that moment.
Exactly, because he was sleeping we were in the same room, but he got sick. He went home. I was alone, And then that happened.
And that's like the perfect supernatural tit for tat.
Right?
Yell at a
And
graveyard.
I swear the next day I was like, I am never doing that again. I felt so sorry. Like I felt such remorse.
You know what I just noticed? The tequila bottle's right behind the candle and it creates a perfect silhouette.
That is really creepy.
Yeah.
That looks like a person.
Man, there's no way this funny man thing is real. I don't even know why you dropped this out. Dude, I swear it's real, right? So like people died and they were hanging right here. Yeah, you told me on the way over here. Remember? Dude, you're just saying that you're scared. Dude, I'm not scared. Come on, you're totally scared. You're shaking in your boots right now. Man, this wasn't even my fault. Hey, what? Remember that picture I took earlier? Yeah, what about it? Look at this. It's just the light from your camera. No, I swear, dude, there's something here. Dude, you just need to stop freaking. Dude, we need to get out of here. There's nothing here. We're the only ones here. Shh. Did you hear that?
Now those were some frightfully fun stories. Howdy everybody, it's me, your host Danny, and I wanted to let you in on something special. You might have noticed that when I introduce the show, I say we are the Hometown Horrors podcast. That's because there will always be at least 3 people in each episode. Me, the person who wants to hear a good story, the guest, the teller of a good story, and you, the listener, that takes that story and carries it with you out into the world. And we make up a special kind of trinity. We are the Hometown Horrors podcast. And if you ever want to graduate from listener to guest, reach out to us via our handle on Instagram, hometown_horrors_podcast. Our email is thehometownhorrorspodcast, no spaces, @gmail.com, or via text or phone call at 571-358-8880, which FYI is not my personal number, but give it a ring. I'll get back to you, because if there's anything I've learned from doing the podcast is that everybody has a story, and that story deserves to be heard. On your number one source for the most spine-tingling, gut-wrenching, insomnia-inducing stories around, the Hometown Horrors Podcast.